Okay, David here again. In this case, I'm going to be covering the results of a 30-30 road test. This is the actual results of one of the people that I worked with for the final project of the 7 subjects. His name is Tom Waterworth. Tom's a grandmaster. He's, well, master to grandmaster. He's 57. He's quite an athletic guy. He's been doing CrossFit for quite a while. Last 4 years or so. He's played rugby all his life, so he's a powerful, even though he's a fairly more advanced in age person, he's quite capable. With what I've learned through CCP and through my 4 weeks of the final project and the subsequent weeks after that, while I'm compiling everything, I continue to work in this case with Tom. I don't think I would do what I did with him again in the same way, but when I finished the online modules and I went into the final project and I went to the immersion in London and everything, I really want to apply the principles and see what results they produce, and Tom was a great sport all along helping me with this. So I look at the 30-30 for him, and his results were 172 meters, 163, 155, 153. Percentage-wise, that would have been 100%, 94%, 90%, and 88%. So overall, it's not too bad. It's actually quite all right, right? We want an optimum score, or a very balanced score would be 100, 95, 92, 90, more or less. So the first thing is we're evaluating the basically a lactic power, right? It's not enough time to go into lactate, so how powerful is Tom? And 172 meters is a good score, I think, for a guy his age. Is quite solid, and even though I think the actual score is not too important, what's important is what happens with the other scores versus relative to that one. I know that it's always nice to have, or I think it's always nice to have a little bit of a gauge of where that is. So if I consider that 180 would be a really good score, 172, I think it's quite a decent score for a guy 57 years old. So I don't think he's got a problem with generating power at this stage on a lactate. The second score, we're now going into lactic power, and yeah, 94%, I think it's right there. I don't think this is a massive thing to look at either. I think he's powered all off in lactate, so really nothing to address there in my opinion. When we go into the third score, at 90% and 155, now it's what I would expect. Honestly, it's more or less what I expected, because he's older, it should be harder for him to recover, and unless he's been putting a lot of quality time into really building what CrossFit is all about, which is that lactate endurance, I think he would struggle a little bit here, and that's exactly what he got. Because he got a 90%, it's not bad, and it's not one of these massive drops that you see sometimes with other more novice people, but I thought, oh, okay, here is something to focus on, and maybe here is where I need to, go and look at that and work on that, and build his tolerance to that, which is really, what it hurts the most, especially if you've done the test. That third one is horrible. And then the last one at 88% and 153, again, to be technical, is a 2% drop from the third score, which is pretty much what we would like to see optimally. Still lower versus the first one, but I think that's because he's just got really tired on the lactate state. Aerobically, I think he's all right. It's sustainable pretty much, and I think if he would have had to go for a couple more rounds, he would be somewhere around that, and he would sustain that. So I took the approach of saying, this is what I think I've learned in the last period. If I had to do this again, no way I would have Tom suffering through 20-second intervals of doing lactate endurance, because the truth is that he doesn't need that really. Tom wants to, enjoy CrossFit. He likes CrossFit, and I think as he's going through the process with me, he's learning more about what's healthy for him and what's good for him, because he's enjoying now doing more resistance training and taking a step aside from the basically the pain energy system training and all of that, and he's starting to realize other things. But anyways, when I was here, I had to take the approach of, what do I do? Why did I do this test if I'm not going to do anything with it? I suppose nothing wrong with that, but it would depend on what results I find. And I wanted to put pain, gain, and sustain into, or gain, pain, and sustain, into the practice of during the final weeks of the project. So I decided to put Tom in once a week into intervals of 20 seconds and trying to improve that with, not a lot of volume, but I did do gradually more sets, more rest between 2 blocks. So obviously that was the worst day of the week for him. But we finished, and then we did it again. and here's what I got. So he was doing some resistance training. I put him on a Wendler 531 program, but he got the same score on the top. Fine, no issue with that in my book. I think maybe he could have got a maybe potentially, but for him and getting to know him, how well he adapts, recovers. He's been stressed at work, hasn't been having has had a few things. He's got a construction company and busy guy. So anyways, 172, same top score. I'm not bothered about it. 4 weeks is a small time, especially for a grandmaster. I don't think it's too long of a time frame to expect a lot of progression. Second score, a little bit better, 2 meters more. It's now at 96%. So there has been some improvement there, which suggests to me that perhaps he's at a stage now where we could expect some progression if we continue training the same way at the top score as we go. But we did achieve this stuff works, because he got 161 meters on his third try, which is 94%, whereas before he had 155, which was 90%. So all this interval work did pay off, and he got a lot better at lactic endurance. He was stoked with the results and very happy to see it. And then on the last one, he really improved dramatically as well to 91% at 158 from 153. So his drop is now 3% on the last, looking more at aerobic capacity. I'm not worried about that either. I think we really focus very much on, because my approach overall with Tom was to give him more breaks, train one less day a week, allow him to recover. So I had to be prioritizing what is he really going to focus on, and I really wanted to work on his deadlift, which was very unbalanced with the rest of his lifts. And then this here, right? So those were the two things I attacked the most. So I'm quite happy with seeing the result. But again, I think if I look back on it now, and I think, great, Tom got better at lactate endurance. So what? Why would he need to be better at that if that's not really what I want him to be doing, to just be healthy and live for the next 30 years, so he gets to 90 quite good, right? And I think both him and I now are in a different place where we think, yeah, fuck that crap, we're not doing that again unless it's absolutely necessary. Rather do some nice, map 10 or 9 or 8 or even 7, all that sort of stuff that is a lot more fun and will keep him very healthy while we continue to develop his immune system through strength work. So learn loads through it. That's how I attack it, how I think you read the results.